I got kicked out of my own 16th birthday party so my adopted brother could blow out my candles. 5 years later, my parents tracked me down, not to apologize, just to ask for money. I gave them exactly what they'd earned. When I was 8, my parents adopted a boy a year younger than me. I'll call him Steven. We were poor, but Steven always got what he demanded. New toys, McDonald's runs, Christmas gifts. I got lectures and empty hands. Whenever I asked why, my parents repeated one line: Steven had a rough life. He deserves better. Steven heard that and learned to use it like a weapon. My favorite place was a local pizza spot. Steven preferred McDonald's, and somehow we always ended up there. If I complained, he pouted, my parents folded, and I became the ungrateful kid. At 16, they surprised me. They planned a party at my favorite pizza place and invited my friends. I hadn't had a real birthday with friends in years because I was embarrassed of our house. So yeah, I let myself believe this meant something. Steven spent the week before it sulking and throwing tantrums. I ignored it. I wanted one normal day. The party started fine. We laughed. We took dumb photos. Then the staff rolled out the cake. Chocolate. I hated chocolate. Steven loved it. I stared at my parents. My dad smiled like it was a cute joke. Steven's birthday is next month, so we're celebrating both of you today. My mom added, he said, you already agreed. After introduction interestains, I turned to Steven. He put on that sweet little face. We talked about this, he said. Why are you yelling, dear brother? We had not talked. Not once. I snapped. How dare you lie? You couldn't let me have one day? My friends went quiet. The whole restaurant went quiet. My parents decided I ruined the mood, so they told me to leave. Not Steven. Me. I stumbled outside, and they locked me out of my own party. I sat in the car and watched through the window. Steven slid into my seat like he owned it. Then he picked up the knife. Next, he cut the first slice. After that, he licked frosting off his thumb. My mom laughed. My dad clapped him on the shoulder, and Steven started handing out pieces like a host. I could see my friends' faces reflected in the glass. Nobody knew where to look. The shame wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was realizing my parents weren't confused. They were choosing him on purpose. My friends tried to protest. My parents kicked them out too. That night, I decided I was done begging for scraps. I worked like crazy, saved every dollar, and lined up a cheap one-bedroom in a nearby city. I got into a college near it. My plan was simple: leave the day I turned 18. On my 18th birthday, they didn't even say happy birthday. I waited all day. Nothing. I finished packing, grabbed 2 bags, and called my friend's older brother for a ride. I walked downstairs and said, I'm moving out. They freaked out. You can't just leave. You didn't discuss this. I said, it's my birthday. I'm 18. My mom rolled her eyes. We didn't forget. We'll celebrate with Steven next month. Now go upstairs. You're grounded. Grounded. At 18, something in me went ice cold. I flipped them off and said, adults don't get grounded. My mom started crying like I'd stabbed her. How can you abandon your loving family? I told her, my family disappeared when I was 8. You replaced me. I walked out shaking. They chased me, but the car was already there. I drove off, blocked their numbers, and finally breathed. 5 years later, I was about to graduate near the top of my class. Real job offers. A real life. Then an unknown number called. It was my mother, crying and begging to see me. I agreed, but I wouldn't give my address. We met at that same pizza place. They did small talk like nothing happened, so I said, I'm still waiting for an apology. They stared at me. Apology for what? Then my dad said I owed them one for leaving without notice. And then the truth spilled out. Steven wanted a car for his 20th birthday. They bought it. They were drowning in debt. They needed money. For him. I nodded. I smiled. I told them I'd help. They hugged me and acted like this was my second chance. A week later, I sent them a thick stack of cash. It wasn't real. Just like their love. They handed it straight to Steven. Steven took it to a casino. The casino called the cops. Steven got arrested and ended up in jail. My parents blew up my phone. I blocked them again. That weekend, I went to a spa with my girlfriend. Jail versus spa. Pure bliss.